Good morning and welcome to the best home ever show of the Palm Beaches, Keller Williams Realty on Legends 100.3. Maria, Joshua, and baby Genesee will address your real estate concerns and bring you solutions. For more information, call 561-779-9452 or visit besthomeever.com. Now here are Maria, Josh, and Genesee.
Good morning, it's Maria,
Josh,
and baby Genesee.
And together we're the best home ever team with Keller Williams Palm Beaches.
Today we have a special guest. He's the founder of A Different Shade of Love, the CEO of Francky Pierre-Paul Philanthropic Consulting Services, a programs director at West Palm Beach Police Athletic League, a community homeless advocate and a congregational local hero, all things charity, Francky Pierre-Paul.
Yes, wow.
Francky, welcome to the show.
Man.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
We are so happy to have you here. And not only are you an incredible local hero, but you are one of our most dearest friends. And we feel so much love towards you that you even married us.
Yes, I did. I had a pleasure of marrying you too. And I'll never forget that day.
Yes.
Never, yeah. Congratulations again.
Thanks,
baby.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Baby
Thank
G
you.
says thank you so much.
So yeah, I remember during the middle of COVID, you were every day in the trenches, helping all of the local homeless and in Tent City. Can you just tell us a little background of how you got your heart for the homeless and where this all started?
Yes, of course. So my journey started at 16. I was church hurt at 14, and at 16 I was kicked out of my house. And I love to say that it's not because my parents didn't love me. It's because I didn't understand the love that they had for me at the time. And I was still really trying to identify who I was, not only in Christ, but myself in this world, my purpose. And while being homeless, I realized that the perspective of homelessness was different. Nobody really wanted to talk about homelessness because we associate it with drugs or people that are lazy, people that, just, we don't want to help them, like cast it out. And fast forward to when I was, 4 years ago, in my late 20s, I felt like my need was to tap back into homelessness and help change the perspective of homelessness within our communities because, hashtag COVID-19, a lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people lost their businesses and they became homeless. A lot of people lost family members that were breadwinners and they became homeless. So now the perspective of homelessness is not just some drug addict or somebody that's lazy. It's, whoa, we had a pandemic and this is why I'm on the streets. This is why I'm sleeping in my car. So my goal was more so to present them with resources and show them that there's still resources here in Palm Beach County that we're providing. And not only that, to show them that we care, we understand, and your mental health matters. And it's not a crime to be homeless. Mm-hmm. It's not a something that's bad, that's frowned upon. Like we understand it, we get it, I get it. And if I can be the liaison between my community and our homeless neighbors, I'm gonna do that. And I've been doing it ever since. Mm. Yeah.
So beautiful. And we are so in awe of everything that you've been able to do for them. And I know you have stories upon stories of people that you've helped. Can you share some of those stories? And they're also touching.
Of course. So right now I have a homeless neighbor that I'm working with, couple, but I'm gonna share two. One is a young man that he's a postal worker, so he's basically a government worker, right? He lost his wife in the beginning of this year, 2 kids, and he left everything for his wife. Ever since then, he's been sleeping in his car. Yeah, how I found out is because we went to school together. He reached out to me, and he said, "Man, Frank, I don't know what to do. I've been sleeping in the car since the beginning of this year. I work for the government, and all I need is first, last, and security to get into a home." So to show you the disparities when it comes down, or even the waiting times when it comes down to our homeless neighbors getting aid and help, the county has resources for homeless neighbors, even when it comes down to rental assistance or utility assistance. But in the back end, it's like, I got to wait 3-4 months. Imagine within those 3 or 4 months, somebody that never drunk before, that never smoked before, that never did anything. Now they're more vulnerable and prone to say, you know what, I got to go back to this reality after me leaving work or anything like that. Not that this young man is doing that, but it just put things in perspective. Like, man, I got to wait 4 months to get help, and all I need is first, last, and security. How the heck I got to wait this long when I work for the government? I do all these things for my community, and I have to wait. But county's rebuttal is like, hey, we just don't have the staff. hashtag COVID-19. Everything's changed, right? So for me, it's more so, how can I help this young man? He's not on drugs. He's working. He's still going to school full time, right? But he can't get first, last, and security because he has to pay for hotels. He has to pay to eat. His gas is always running because he has to sleep in his car, so it's AC. So all those factor into like, what are you doing with your money? You get paid anyways. Well, I still got a car payment. You know what I mean? So my goal and my job is to hone in and be like, okay, cool. Let me get you tapped in with the county and share your story, not only with the community, but now the community is able to hold the county accountable and say, hey, this don't make sense. But if you catch the guy in 4 or 5 months, we don't know what mindset he's going to be in.
Right.
That's one dilemma. And it's still going on till this day. Second one, a gentleman that we met, right? He was on the side of the street. His story went viral. He was an electrician, been an electrician for over 20 years. He's perfect, beautiful. What happened with him is he got addicted to fentanyl a couple months ago.
Oh, no.
Because he's been on the streets, right? He has family, he has support, but that was his downfall. That was his, quote-unquote, people would say, mistake. But he's trying to get back on his feet. So what can I do? Use my platform to show everybody, hey, this is a young man, wants to get off the streets. He has a trade. He's freaking good at it. But every time he gets a job, people are paying him $20, $30 for just a job, when in all reality, electricians get paid way more than that. So his circumstances allowing people to see him as a burden or somebody that, if it's $20, take it because you have nothing anyways. Right. So right now we're helping him get more exposure. We're helping him get his license back. We're helping him get his mind back. We're helping him with his treatments and everything like that. But that's just because he went viral. But that's not speaking for thousands and thousands of people that are out there on the streets.
Right.
Or even couch surfing.
Right. Wow. That really just puts it into perspective that none of us are very far away from that. Yeah. And we have these facades that, oh, everything's good, I have money and job and everything. But if there's an injury or a death or a pandemic, there's a lot of unforeseen factors that can bring any one of us into the state of homelessness.
Absolutely.
And just having that perspective, it's not always just someone who, made mistakes or did something wrong. It could happen to anybody.
Anybody, at any time.
Right.
What's the average? Yeah, and there's a high percentage of people that are just one paycheck away from, living in their car or on the streets or somebody's couch. I mean, what do you know what the percentages are?
If me being in the field for so long, I would say the percentage has risen since COVID. The percentage has risen to at least 75 to 80%.
Wow.
Because now we're not even talking about the middle class anymore. It's the rich and the poor. It's no longer middle class. Like, you talk about the middle class is literally one paycheck. If it's not one paycheck, it's a paycheck and a half. Because things have risen. The cost of living has risen. The food has risen. People's insecurities, fear, right? Like, I don't want to go get a 9 to 5 because I don't know if I'm going to catch any type of disease. Like, everyone reacts to pain differently. Everyone reacts to change differently. So the world is shifting. And if we don't take a hold at and really look at what's going on, we're going to be stuck with, oh my gosh, my brother, my cousin, my sister needs to come stay with me for not only 6 months, now it's 4 years, now it's 5 years, because we just can't get a hold of that curve.
Man.
You know what I mean?
And Frankie, if someone wants to help you either with time or money, how can they reach you?
So differentshadeoflove.org. You can go to differentshadeoflove.org. My Instagram, I am Francky Pierre-Paul. IAM FRANCKY PIERREPAUL. I am Francky Pierre-Paul. And then you will find my also my social media with A Different Shade of Love with Instagram or Facebook.
Awesome. And speaking of A Different Shade of Love, how did you come up with the name and the logo? And tell us more about what all you do.
Beautiful question. So with A Different Shade of Love, I thought about it, right? So there's different races, ethnicities that volunteer, that show love. And the way they show love is different from the way I show love. But it's all different shades. So it took me about 3 to 4 days. I prayed on it. I said, I want to have the perfect nonprofit name. And A Different Shade of Love just came to mind. And that's where you see the hands, different shades of hands. And everybody's coming together under one umbrella and saying, hey, I want to show love to our community in different shades, And it's been a blessing because it's not just Palm Beach anymore. it's Broward, it's Miami. And people are really starting to understand that homelessness is not a disease, it's not a crime. Like, there's two different definitions of homelessness, right? It's those that are sleeping on the streets and those that are couch surfing.
Right.
So you have family members that you know that wake up every morning, smell good, take a shower, spray themselves, and go to work. But you don't know what that person is going through mentally because they have to go right back to sleeping on your couch. Yes, it's okay. Okay, I'll pat you on the back. You have somewhere to stay. You should be grateful. But it's not mine. It's not something that I can call that's an ownership that I can call my own. Right? So by definition, those folks are homeless as well. So when somebody says, I see the numbers and they say, hey, Palm Beach County has 500 homeless neighbors, I triple that number. Because there's people that you'll never know that are homeless for fear of losing their child, DCF's getting involved, and things like that. So we got to put all those type of things in perspective. So a different shade of love is not just giving resources, and providing resources to our homeless neighbors. It's also educating the community and letting them know, hey, like, you can help. But there's different ways and certain ways you can help as well, because you may know somebody that I don't know that can help John, Sarah, and Bethy and their 5 kids. You may know somebody. So as long as I'm alive and I'm breathing, I'm using my platform, my essence, my being to just show the disparities that we have on our streets and the people that are couch surfing.
Yeah, especially that, because there was a statistic, I don't know how accurate it is, but I even heard that 1 out of every 4 kids are in school that, I mean, they live off of they're either homeless or living in somewhere on someone's couch. I mean, and I mean, it seems like unbelievable, but I mean, based on what you're saying, I mean, it's a very real thing. Yeah,
it's hard to talk about. Yeah. Well, I talk about it when it's like the norm. Growing up, like, I never knew what the struggle was until I went to school. My peers taught me that I was poor. My peers taught me that I didn't have the latest sneakers or the latest clothes because my parents did the best that they could to give me everything that I needed just to survive. So coming home and eating peanut butter jelly, that was my favorite.
I mean, yeah.
You know what I mean? Or eating Captain Crunch, that was my favorite. But eating it every day for lunch, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I didn't know that, that's not the norm.
Right.
Who said that? You know what I mean? So when you hear other kids say, man, I had a full course meal, that, you start this question like, oh my gosh, like, am I really living in the ghetto? Or am I really living in the hood? Or am I really like poor? I never felt that way. So it's good to also speak about, perspectives, because we living in a generation where the youth is starting to, show their emotions a lot more. Hashtag social media, right? So a lot of times I like to incorporate, mental health resources as well to our neighbors and their kids, because a lot of the kids, they're more prone to saying, I want to commit suicide because I'd rather just do that than let somebody know that I'm wearing the same drawers today, or I'm wearing the same clothes that I wore yesterday, or the same socks, or if I'm giving out off an odor or a stench, it's because I couldn't get a shower today, or proper shower. Parents just didn't have the means to. So it sucks, man. It sucks. And I think the numbers are not doing justice because people are more scared to speak about it.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
And speaking of all the work that you did during COVID, can you tell us about Tent City, what that was all about? I mean, we saw you every day bringing food, tents, clothing, things that people need.
Ponchos, socks, yeah.
Yeah, everything. Well, shouts out to you guys. You guys came out and showed love, came out and showed love, and I appreciate that, first and foremost. Secondly, Tent City was created post-COVID. When COVID hit, all organizations shut down. There's not one organization that catered to homelessness that stayed open. And if I'm wrong, correct me. In Palm Beach County, we shut down. Nobody knew where this trend or this issue was coming from. Right. Everybody was scared, which is okay. Yeah. But this is what I feel. As homeless neighbors and being an advocate for homeless neighbors, they're voiceless until you give them a voice. So when everybody shut down, resources shut down. When they're telling us, hey, you need to social distance for 6 feet and you need masks, who was giving those resources out? So I was like, okay, cool. What is the greatest or biggest population in Palm Beach County where we have homeless neighbors? At that time, that was Lake Worth. And they were sleeping in the park. Right. So what I did was I maximized that opportunity, where I was able to not only show the community, but our leaders that we had a problem. And this problem has always existed, even during the pandemic, So while I knew that our neighbors needed to be social distance, 6 feet, I was like, okay, I can't house you and give you physical keys to a home I can give you a tent. This South Florida, rain can come anywhere, any place. So let's start getting you tents. Let's empower you. Let's give you a voice. Let's have food, not just any type of food, right? Because we got also keep in mind, just because you're homeless don't take away from the fact that you're diabetic, that you have high blood pressure, that you just had surgery and now you're out of the hospital because you don't have insurance. So it's good to have conversations and figure out what somebody likes to eat. If they're vegetarian, if they're pescatarian, honor that. So those are the type of things that I was doing, and it was building confidence and trust from our homeless neighbors in the population that really don't trust people that come with a suit and tie,
right? Or
somebody that they look at and saying, "You're in the community. I don't want no help from you. You're never gonna come back." So we grew from 20 homeless neighbors to 200 homeless neighbors, and I was able to go to the county and tell them, by law, you can't kick them out. You can't kick them out of the park. It's an encampment. You can't kick them out of the park. Reason being is because there's nowhere to kick them out to, and that's where Tent City was moved to.
Right, because everything was closed and right.
Exactly.
Okay, got it.
Exactly. So they were moved to the temporary shelter out there on South Florida Fairgrounds at the Stockade, and 110, I believe, homeless neighbors were transitioned, but that leaves another 100. What happened to them? So we had
110 were transitioned to housing and they're thriving now, or just temporarily somewhere else?
Well, temporarily in a temporary shelter.
Right.
So that you have 90 days. The county has 90 days to transition these homeless neighbors. So you may have somebody that just needs first, last, and security. Easy, boom. First, last, and security, easy, boom. Now you're in a house. But you have somebody that has mental health issues, psychotic issues, things like that. 90 days may not rehabilitate them.
Right. Yeah. Right.
So if after 90 days I can't rehabilitate them, now they transition back to the streets. So there's a breakage or whatever you call it in the system, right? So now they're prone to say, I don't believe in the system anymore because I keep going in and out 90 days and I need more than 90 days, right? So it was a win to take our homeless neighbors from the park to a shelter, but when it comes down to the 90 days, a lot of them has transitioned back into the streets because they didn't have that opportunity to get the help that they actually needed.
Wow.
You know?
And then you said the other 100 or 110
dispersed.
Right.
You know, there was no room. Where are you going to go? And a lot of them came from all across this country, all across this world. I met people that came from New York, people that came from France, people that came just hearing about Tent City and how it was being organized and how they had people like actually social distancing and having showers and things like that. They came out there. And I can honestly say the COVID-19 testing rate, we didn't have a lot of people that was testing positive. Because you got to think about it. These are people that's been on the streets and fighting diseases for a long time, fighting illnesses for a long time, so their immune systems are different. You know, so it was a bittersweet moment. And the fight is just getting more and more harder.
Yeah, I imagine.
What's the future for A Different Shade of Love?
Housing. I think housing first should always be first, right? But when you're talking to somebody that's been on the streets for 25 years, you got to explain to them why housing would work.
Right. They've been on the streets for 25 years.
They've been on the streets for 25 years. So it's a mental thing. Homelessness is not just physical, it's mental. So if I'm able to sell to that person and say, hey, look, I got a place for you to come to. Not only you can come stay here, you have access to your own time where you can come in and out. You got to worry about me telling you got to be here at 11 p.m. But there's rules. You know, and on that facility, on those grounds, you also have access to jobs. You also have access to showers. You have access to food, laundry, everything that you may need, so you don't have to go back into that realm where you were just trying to get out of. You know, so A Different Shade of Love is really trying to purchase land, build that vision, and have county look at it and say, "Oh, wow, this is different. I never thought of it this way." And it's going to take somebody that's been through it. Somebody that understands and somebody that has been doing the work to say, this is how it's going to work. How do you know, Frank? Because I've been doing it. And the majority of the people that I'm speaking to, this is what I'm hearing. So it's not just Francky Pierre-Paul speaking from his heart. It's Francky Pierre-Paul telling you that the streets are speaking, the streets are talking. And the system is there for a reason. I respect it. But times have changed. And the people that are experiencing homelessness have changed as well. It's a different walk of life. So we need to be able to hone in and be like, okay, cool. We're going to help you with mental. We're going to help you physically. We're going to help you. Like, some people don't want therapy on that realm. They want music therapy. They want to play tennis. They want to do things that are going to rehabilitate their minds. You know what I mean? So with a different shade of love, that's the vision. I'm believing God to make it happen for us. But yeah.
What would it take to make that happen?
The community, the help from the community, grants, you know. I know different shade of love right now is lacking a grant writer. Having a grant, and the vision's already there. So putting it down on paper and then presenting it to the county. But, you know, just having like-minded individuals sitting on our board and saying, I get the vision, I understand the vision, and I would love to help, you know. So I've put in the work. I'm going to continue to put in the work.
Yeah.
Money don't drive me. There's people out there that have the same heart as us, different shades, to say, hey, Frank, I'll give you $250 to help this family transition from streets to a hotel. But that $250 is just for two, 3 days. What happens afterwards?
Right.
You know, so we need something stable that's going to be long-lasting, where I don't give nobody no time frame to say, you have 90 days to get it right. No, it may take you a little longer, and that's okay.
Where do they get this 90 days from?
It's a waiting list, and it's government. So I respect it.
Yeah.
It's a waiting list. I give you 90 days because I have 250 more people I need to transition into the system. You know,
and just filter it through, like, oh, hey, right,
yeah,
got it.
It got to be different data coming in. You know, it's business.
So then you have all these people come. Oh, look at all these people I'm helping, but really, it's just like it's just a top. It's like just a cycle of people, conveyor.
Yes, sir.
Yes, like on a loop. Really, it's just a loop. It's the same people coming through.
Yes, sir.
Right.
And that's what separates us from a lot of the organizations. It shouts out to every organization that caters to homelessness. But what sets us apart is that we're not money driven. We do the work. So when it comes down to a huge grant, we don't have to say we got to dumb it down a little bit. No, we're going to tell the truth because it's the community that it's helping. It's somebody that's taking $5 out of their pocket and saying, I want this $5 to go towards something good.
Right. And
when you see that it went towards something good, you're inclined to take out another $5, another $100, because you see the work is being done. And we're not an organization that's scared to tell the truth and say, no, this is not what's happening.
Right.
You say 20, we say 250. And this is why. So, no, my community, I shout out to my community every single day, because without my community, without good friends, family members, and people that help and volunteer, there's no way I'll be able to do what I do and do it effectively.
Well, Frankie, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. The heart you have for our community is just amazing.
Yeah, man.
I
and
appreciate it.
And how can you be reached again?
A differentshadeoflove.org. Instagram, I am Francky Pierre-Paul, or A Different Shade of Love. And you can tap in with me anytime. I'm everywhere. I'm always, near, far, however you put it. I'm here.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, may God bless you and bless your efforts, and we are privileged to call you friends.
Yeah, God bless you more.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys for the space and the
Love
hospitality.
You, man. Yeah.
And thank you, everyone, for listening, and hope everyone has a blessed week. Take care.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to the Best Home Ever show of the Palm Beach's Keller Williams Realty. Join Maria, Josh, and baby Genesee next Saturday at 9:30 and call the team with any questions you have, 561-779-9452, or visit besthomeever.com.